Santa Maria, Santa Teresa, Santa Anna, Santa Susanna, Santa Cecilia, Santa Capilia, Santa Domenica, Mary Angelica, Frater Ashes, Frater Pietro, Julianus, Petronilla, Santa Santos, Ursa, Vladimir.
It's going viral madly Monday of a bolt of lightning striking St. Peter's the same day the Pope announced that he would step down. And Benedict is set for a new name, a new home, and a new role after his unprecedented move. And ABC's Dan Harris is live in St. Peter's Square this morning with all of that. Dan, good morning to you.
Elizabeth, good morning to you. Here's how the local papers are playing this huge story. This one says, in Italian, of course, Pope shock. And here's a headline we can all understand in any language, Amen. As Catholics all over the world absorb this truly stunning news, today we're starting to get a better sense of what may have provoked the Pope to make this announcement now. This morning, the Italian news agency ANSA reports Pope Benedict had a top-secret operation to replace his pacemaker at this hospital in Rome 3 months ago. The Vatican won't confirm the news, but the paper says the operation, quote, went well. This morning, the Pope's older brother, a church official in Germany, held a news conference to say the decision was well thought out and nobody pushed his brother out. Meanwhile, Benedict's surprise decision has provoked Vatican intrigue worthy of a Dan Brown novel. Jockeying and politicking has already begun over who will be the 266th Pope of this 2,000-year-old church, the largest religious body on earth.
If I was a cardinal and I really wanted to be Pope, could I actually campaign for myself?
Well, I guess it would appear indiscreet.
It would not go over well.
No, I don't think it would go over well.
While there are no clear favorites, bookmakers are already laying odds, and here are 3 names you'll be hearing a lot. Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana is listed as a 9-4 favorite. He would be the first black pope.
The time has always been there for an African pope, as we've had it before.
Canadian Cardinal Mark Willett, a 5-2 favorite. And perhaps most formidably, Archbishop Angelo Scola of Milan, who has a strong Italian power base. Sometime this March, roughly 120 cardinals will gather under heavy security and beneath a cloak of secrecy for the conclave to choose a new pope inside the Sistine Chapel. Every time they vote, they burn the ballots. Black smoke means no pope yet. White smoke, a winner.
This is not like voting for a president where you're voting for the guy who will lower your taxes.
Precisely. I want to vote as God for the man God wants. That's a very scary thing.
Scary indeed. I've got one more picture I want to show you this morning. This is the building where Pope Benedict will live once he officially steps down. That's on February 28th at exactly 8 p.m. This is a former monastery inside Vatican City. For months, construction crews have been rehabbing this building, and during that entire time, only a few top Vatican officials actually knew that this would
gathered a group of cardinals for a small ceremony, the canonization of 3 saints. His bombshell came at the end. He spoke in Latin, the ancient language of the church. I have come to the certainty, he said, that my strength...
If the last 600 years have taught us anything, it is that popes don't quit. There is no League of Retired Pontiffs, no Holy Father rest home. It is a job for life, or at least it was, until this morning, when over 1 billion Catholics did a collective double-take at the news that Benedict XVI had just given his 2 weeks' notice in Latin. So why now? What does it mean for the Church, and who could possibly replace him? Here's my co-anchor, Terry Moran.
It seemed an ordinary rainy Monday in the Vatican, except maybe for that lightning bolt striking St. Peter's.
Dominus vobiscum.
Pope Benedict XVI gathered a group of cardinals for a small ceremony, the canonization of 3 saints. His bombshell came at the end. He spoke in Latin, the ancient language of the church. I have come to the certainty, he said, that my strengths due to an advanced age are no longer suited to an adequate exercise of the papacy.
I'm surprised. I'm shocked.
Around the world, from ordinary parishioners to Vatican insiders, the reaction was the same.
Today's decision by Benedict XVI to resign from the papacy came as a huge surprise to me, and I think to everyone in Rome, and also to everyone in the Vatican.
For almost 600 years, it hadn't happened. For almost 600 years, popes died in office. So with this one stroke, Benedict XVI changed history.
No one alive has ever seen anything like that happen. And the dynamics of that, I think, are completely unknown.
Habemus Papa.
Been talked about as an act of God. The Vatican, struck by lightning on the same day Pope Benedict XVI shocked his cardinals by announcing his resignation. The frequently stumbling pontiff has long stayed off rumours of deteriorating health. In this instance, he's caught napping during a moment of sanctity while visiting the flock in Malta. Benedict began his reign as Catholicism's mitre-wielding man of cloth in his late 70s. He endured a broken wrist and a very public attack, giving rise to concerns that he may become vulnerable after suffering a stroke. Just recently, and perhaps another sign from God, the pontiff's dove of peace found itself flying solo against a wall. The symbol of harmony and purity was then set upon by a vengeful seagull, leaving the faithful questioning the mind of God. Perhaps the reign of Benedict is ending not because of his age or health, but because he simply didn't have the cool factor of the Pope who went before him.
Extraordinary pictures which came to us from the Vatican on what was, of course, an extraordinary day. Within hours of Pope Benedict announcing that he was to resign, take a look at this. Lightning struck St. Peter's Basilica. You can see it again now in slow motion. Extraordinary. It happened just before 6 o'clock in the evening, local time.
In Rome, where history is being made today. You see the Vatican right there, St. Peter's Basilica. We are seeing the final hours of a living Pope, Benedict XVI, preparing now to leave the Vatican for the last time as Pope, the first Pope in almost 600 years to relinquish power and retire. There he is leaving the Vatican right now, accompanied by Secretary of State Cardinal Bertone. And he will walk out into the courtyard of San Damaso, where Swiss guards and the entire papal household is already arrayed to say farewell to their Pope. Pope moving slowly now, 8 years as Pope. Said he was retiring in part because he was no longer up to the physical, intellectual, and emotional demands of the job. And this farewell has been remarkably personal. The Pope yesterday in his general audience, speaking about both the joys and the burdens of that office. Earlier today, he said farewell one by one to the cardinals, 207 cardinals in all. Not all were there today. And now he is walking out into that courtyard for the last time, the final picture. That is the Secretary of State, Cardinal Bertone, who is right now walking right ahead of the Pope. The Swiss Guards, the oldest standing army in the world, protecting popes for 500 years. And the Pope now greeted by applause from members of his household.
I want to show you some extraordinary extraordinary pictures which came to us from the Vatican on what was, of course, an extraordinary day. Within hours of Pope Benedict announcing that he was to resign, take a look at this. Lightning struck St. Peter's Basilica. You can see it again now in slow motion. Extraordinary. It happened just before 6 o'clock in the evening, local time.
And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
Would you say then, because of the direction that it's going and because of the occupancy of that position by somebody who is evidently not qualified to hold that position, that it's of a satanic influence? Because I would think if I was Satan, man, that would be a great coup d'etat right there to put somebody who's not qualified in that seat.
Even Paul VI, who was a heretic himself, he proclaimed the smoke of Satan has entered the church.
Wow.
Pretty serious proclamation.
So do we see this current Pope leading people in a satanic way? I mean, as an exorcist who's been doing this for a long time, do you see similarities between what the current Pope is doing and what you see in symbology or acting out in the demonic realm?
I will say this, that Francis is promoting the same agenda that the globalists are. Philosophy rooted in occultism. Therefore, I would say anyone who remains in the Novus Ordo Church, who continues to follow the hierarchy of the Novus Ordo, their souls are in danger because they are following the program of Satan at this point. He was ordained in the Novus Ordo rites, so the chances are he is not even a valid priest, which means he cannot be the Pope. Even if he were validly ordained by virtue of his teachings and their extreme departure from traditional Christian doctrine and morals and ethics, he is no longer a Christian. He's become a false teacher. He's a heretic.
So what do you make of, then, his rapid popularity growth? He's rallying Catholics.
Well, yeah, look at the Catholics he's rallying, though. And look at the people who are lauding him. It's the progressive media who loves him. It's the gay lobby who loves him. You're not looking at Christians who are seeking to be faithful to the teachings of the gospel, faithful to the teachings of the church. What you're seeing are the radical elements of the church who are flocking to this man, and the radical elements in media and society who are supporting this man. So, of course, he's going to have a degree of popularity. These people are lauding him because he's promoting their agenda.
Should we be afraid of the power that he's starting to accumulate, then?
Absolutely. He's a very real and very frightening player on the world scene.
Two children joined Pope Francis for his weekly prayer from the papal apartments. The pontiff used the service to call for peace and reconciliation in Ukraine, and to symbolize this, the children released 2 white doves into the air. But as they took off, one was attacked by a passing seagull, while the other was repeatedly pecked by a crow. It's not known what happened to the doves after the incident.
every sensation man has been inspired to have. I cared about what he wanted, and I never judged him. Why? Because I never rejected him, in spite of all his imperfections. I'm a fan of man. I'm a humanist. Maybe the last humanist. Who in their right mind, Kevin, could possibly deny the 20th century was entirely mine? All of it, Kevin! All of it. Mine. I'm peeking. It's my time now.
Santa Maria, Santa Teresa, Santa Anna, Santa Susanna, Santa Cecilia, Santa Capilia, Santa Domenica, Mary Angelica, Frater Ashes, Frater Pietro, Julianus, Petronella, Santa Santos, Mirosław, Vladimir, and all the rest.
Oh, a man is placed upon the steps and a baby cries. High above you can hear the church bells start to ring. And as the heaviness, oh, the heaviness, the body settles in, somewhere you can hear a mother sing. Then it's one foot, then the other, as you step out on the road. Step out on the road. How much weight? How much? Then it's how long and how far and how many times. Oh, before it's too late. Call all angels, call all angels. Walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Call all angels, call all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Oh, and every day you gaze upon the sunset with such love and intensity. Why, it's almost as if you could only crack the code, then you'd finally understand what this all means. Ah, but if you could, do you think you would trade in all the pain and suffering? Ah, but then you'd miss the beauty of the light upon this earth, and the sweetness of the leaving. Call all angels, call all angels. Walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Call all angels, call all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure. Calling all angels, calling all angels, calling all angels, calling all angels. Walk me through this, walk me through this. Don't leave me alone. Calling all angels, calling this goes.
Tower of refuge and strength.